All right, shalom, shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, the elders, and the men of great millstone, as well as those men that preach and teach the likewise doctrine. No compromises, no mixing it to fix it. Shalom to all the Akim and a few Akwat who may be listening. This is your brother Batakala Yahweh coming back at you with another video through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. We're going to play this clip real quick, and then, Lord willing, we're going to break some scriptures down.
Samuel L. Jackson, where are you? 152 movie titles, 27 billion in box office, more than any other actor. Here's what you don't know. These are the organizations that Samuel L. Jackson give to. Alzheimer's Association, American Institute for Stuttering, American Red Cross, Artists for New South Africa, Bedford-Stuyvesant Restoration Corporation, Black Economic Alliance, the Brain Trust, Cedars-Sinai, Broadway Cares, Equity Fights AIDS, Carousel of Hope, Children's Defense Fund, Earth Island Foundation, the Hollywood Foundation for Autism and Parkinson's Disease, In a Perfect World Foundation, the Joseph Lowery Institute for Social Change, Magic Johnson Foundation, Spelman College, Morehouse College, NAACP, Legal Defense Fund, National Action Network, Kidney Foundation, Solutions Coalition, the Smithsonian National Museum of African American History, Spelman College, United Negro College Fund, and the Urban League. Samuel L. Jackson, where are you? 152 movie titles.
Ecclesiastes 10 and 6. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 10 and verse 6. Folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in low place. I have seen servants upon horses, and princes walking as servants upon the earth. All right, so we in a place right now in time, especially in the Israelite community, but really in this whole society, where people are the clowns are the ones that Esau puts in the forefront to be glorified, the jesters. These two gentlemen, well, Denzel Washington was the one that was speaking at the podium. He's an actor or a minstrel, as well as Samuel Jackson, the man they were honoring, another minstrel. All right, so first and foremost, being that these dudes are quote unquote celebrities and very high level movie stars. These dudes are in the boule. They are participants in a number of abominable acts, up to and including, bestiality, pedophilia, homosexuality, etc. All right. So these are not people that should be exalted whatsoever. These are wicked niggers. And these are also individuals who influence other Jakes and even heathens too. But, we here for Jake. We're not really talking about or care about heathens. But they influence Jakes, Northern Kingdom, Southern Kingdom, Speckled Bird, to exalt folly, to want to be like them, And even when you look at Denzel Washington, his best role that he ever played, was as a crooked cop, doing all type of wicked shit. Salaki, let me fix this real quick so that this don't cut. My bad. All right, back to it. All right, but yeah, so these dudes are being exalted, but they're not really anybody. They're not doing anything for the Lord. When you see that list of things that Denzel Washington read as far as the donations that Samuel Jackson has made, none of those causes were causes that helped forward teaching the word of the Lord to the children of Israel. All right, these are all causes. First of all, Esau got to give the green light for them to donate and give money to anything. All right, number one. Number two, it's highly likely that a lot of those, if not all of those foundations, are just Ponzi schemes that Esau uses to launder money. And it's also likely that Samuel Jackson may not have even made any donations. They just read that list to glorify this dude. But the fact of the matter is, even if he did or he didn't, this dude's a witch. Both of these dudes are witches. All of really everybody that was in that ceremony is a witch and a boule member, and they're turncloaks and traitors. All right, we're gonna get the next scripture. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 12 and verse 8, and it reads, "The wicked walk on every side when the vilest men are exalted." All right, and these two men, Samuel Jackson was the one that was getting exalted in this particular video, but Denzel Washington has been getting exalted for decades now. And really any of these other celebrities that get exalted, all of these dudes are pieces of shit, man. All of these dudes have turned theyself over to Esau, and they help forward Jake's affliction with Esau and help to keep Jake going off for Esau, and influencing Jake just to not follow the way of the Lord. All right. Now we're gonna go, because this is not the first time this has happened. Like the scriptures say, there's nothing new under the sun. So we're gonna go to First Maccabees first. No pun intended. And then we'll get the Second Maccabees. See, so this is going to be right here an example of what those men are participating in and the mentality that they got. This First Maccabees chapter 1 and 11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. All right. And that's what Samuel Jackson and Denzel Washington and all these entertainers and any of these high-level Jakes have done. All right, they went and they made a deal with Esau for comfort on this side. All right, because they don't have fear of the Lord. They fear Esau instead of fearing the Lord. And they more worried about what Esau is going to do to them than what the Lord is going to do to them. And really, whatever Esau does to Jake, the Lord is doing it. The Lord controls everything, but these niggas don't have no faith, so they want to go and please their flesh and just kneel to Esau, not understanding that the Lord is using Esau to jack them up. So it's just it's a paradox. You going off thinking that appeasing Esau is going to help you escape the Lord, but in the end, the Lord is the one that's controlling everything, and you niggas are going to have to pay for this. All right, verse 12. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. All right, so these Jakes nowadays, they base what they can and can't do off what Esau tells them. They don't look to the scriptures to figure out the things that they're supposed to be doing to live a righteous life and to live a fruitful life for the Lord. They just what they if Esau says it's cool, then it's cool, and they do it. All right. Verse 14. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the custom of the heathen. So at this period in time, when we was being conquered by the Greeks, Jake started to get himself over into Greekish customs, building the gym, doing Mo activities, and all the other things that Greece was known for. All right. And these Jakes was going in these gyms and exercising buck naked, covered in swine's fat to oil their body up. All right, verse 15, and made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant and joined themselves to the heathen and were sold to do mischief. So even Jakes that was circumcised was finding flesh and sewing it back onto their rods, paws, in order to live their life like a heathen, to be like a heathen. All right, and that's the same thing you see today. Jake want to be like a heathen, man, because these heathens are on top right now. And Jake is not learning about the Lord in mainstream society. Now, the vast majority of these Jakes know, thanks to the internet and the men of the Lord, starting with the apostles and the elders on down, first and foremost, who've been teaching for decades now. But as far as, in school and things like that, Jake don't know nothing about the Lord. Esau makes sure that they teach Jake how to go off from a young age and that they don't bring the Lord into any of these institutions. It's illegal to do that. All right. And if you do it, you'll lose your job and you could possibly go to jail. All right. So now we're going to go to, an example of somebody who, this is what you're supposed to do. Salakia. This is the book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 6 and verse 18. Eleazar, one of the principal scribes, an aged man and of a well-favored countenance, was constrained to open his mouth and eat swine's flesh. All right, so these Greeks, they came to Jake and they picked, basically the leader, somebody that Jake looked up to. All right, which would be this gentleman Eleazar. All right, and he was their elder basically. So they called upon him and they basically told him, we're going to use you. Because if you do these things that we want you to do, then all these other niggas will do it because they follow you. All right. Kind of like how these Jakes look up to Samuel Jackson and Denzel Washington now. Now, of course, these men are not on this level. They on the level of those men in that first Maccabees 1:11. All right. But it's the same. This is how Esau works. He goes for people who have influence and uses them to influence Jake. Now, we at a point now where, niggas like Samuel Jackson and Denzel Washington more than likely was planned to be what they were from birth and was created by Esau. All right. But this is a period in time where, Jake was just getting taken over. So they went to go get a Jake that was already established, among Jake. But like all these artists and these rappers and these ball players and shit, a lot of these dudes, Esau creates these niggas in the lab and then just gives them to you. All right. Verse 19. But he, choosing rather to die gloriously than to live stained with such an abomination, spit it forth and came of his own accord to the torment. All right. So Eleazar decided that he wasn't going to do what Esau wanted him to do, and he wasn't going to send all these Jakes off and stain himself, a man of honor. He lived a life of honor. He wasn't going to stain himself and go off against the Lord and entice all these other Jakes to go off because, he was with the Lord. He didn't care about what Esau was going to do to him. All right. As it behooved them to come that are resolute to stand out against such things as are not lawful for love of life to be tasted. All right. So he didn't want to go off. He wasn't willing to forsake the Lord in order to do this. And if you read down later in the account, Esau gives Eleazar an opportunity to eat some chicken or eat something that was lawful, but pretend that it was swine to still get Jake to go off. And he refused to do that as well, and they end up killing him. But that's the same thing that a lot of these rappers, like I said, a lot of these dudes, they talk about shit they don't even do. A lot of these Jakes making songs about killing niggas ain't never killed nobody. Selling drugs ain't never sold no dope. They talk about drinking lean and using other substances, and they don't use none of that shit. They just say that they do it on the song to get you niggas hyped up and fired up about doing it. And then you niggas get fired up and you do it. All right. Now we're going to close out with this. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 28 and verse 6. Better is the poor that walketh in his uprightness than he that is perverse in his ways, though he be rich. All right. So at the end of the day, it's better to be in a righteous position. It's better to be living your life for Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai than it is to be living your life selfishly and to try to be one of these niggas that get rich. Because when you do, see, Esau ain't just letting niggas get rich for free, man. You got to pay the toll every time. It's balanced, just like how when you in this truth, you got to make sacrifices to the Lord and constantly work for the Lord on a regular basis. Esau is just like that. You got to constantly make sacrifices for him. You got to constantly be doing shit to make Jake go off if you want to continue to keep your position. And Esau will kill you if you don't want to continue in your work. All right. But we in a way better position. And, a lot of times, Jake is going through it and fighting with, we got to fight this flesh. We got to fight Esau. We got to deal with all type of things. But the fact that the Lord allowed you to hear this truth, you got to be thankful, and you got to understand that this is the best position you can be in. All these niggas that got money, they about to turn this money off soon. And then you're going to have to take the charagma to be able to use anything, to be able to buy anything, to be able to have money. You're going to have to use the charagma, all right? And once you take that charagma, Esau, it's not guaranteed that Esau finna have you good. Once you take that, Esau got you. And until the Lord come back, you're just going to be getting tormented and suffering. All right. Which is why it's more important and way more profitable for you to know this truth so that when that day comes, you don't succumb to Esau's devices. All right. But with that being said, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Bashem, Kakodash. Double honors to the apostles, the elders, and the men of great millstone, as well as those men that preach and teach the likewise doctrine. No compromises, no mixing it to fix it. Shalom to the few, or to the Akim and the few Akwat who may be listening. Lord willing, this was an edifying lesson. Shalom.